Welcome back to JB Sports. I'm your host, John the Burton here, and today we are going to get into some NFL, specifically NFL wise. We're going to get into the catch controversy recently with George Pickens and Garrett Wilson. Then we'll go a little bit into the trades, and then, of course, we'll round it off with Washington, as I always do, and the Hail Mary, the Maryland Miracle, whatever you want to call it, the Hail No or whatever they were saying on the Commanders YouTube page. But first, I am going to get into the catch controversy. So we go through the Steelers game against the Giants had a catch where George Pickens in the back right of the end zone. I'll show pictures if I can. He catches it and gets his left foot, right foot, whatever. He gets a foot on the ground fully, and he's unable to get it, and he pops backwards, and he gets his foot down again, basically the whole way down, but doesn't get his second foot in. And it was ruled incomplete by the NFL. And Garrett Wilson, in the game yesterday against the Texans, this one was like one of the best catches I've seen of all time. Not, I don't think Odell level, but it's up there. He catches it, looks like the Michael Jordan logo, and he gets one foot down, but then he gets his shin down. That is what the NFL said in the game yesterday. That's what the ref said. And by the NFL rules, if you look at it, this is completed or intercepted pass by operations of NFL.com. A player who makes a catch may advance the ball. A forward pass is completed by the offense or defense. Yeah. But mostly what we're focusing on is so A secures control of the ball in his hands or arms prior to the ball touching the ground, which both of them did. Garrett Wilson had it locked in his arm. He had that locked in with his one hand, and George Pickens had it the whole time. So that's fine. And then the second one is touches the ground inbounds with both feet or any part of his body other than his hands. Of course, NFL rules. George Pickens didn't get his 2 feet in, and he only got one. He got it twice though, but it's out. Next one, Garrett Wilson, he got his foot in, and then the thing, and then technically, because it is a different part of the body, the shin, he got his shin in before he went out of bounds, and his knee would have counted, but the knee was out of bounds before he was in. But his shin counted, which it was on the same foot. So, by NFL rule standards, they both had control of the ball, but George Pickens did not get both feet in, or nor did he get another part of his body. And Garrett Wilson got his foot in and a second part of the body because the shin counts as 2 feet, I believe, in NFL rules. So George Pickens is not counted as a catch while, you know, Wilson's is. The thing about this, though, of course, NFL rules we just stated, one's not a catch, one is. But on X, almost said Twitter, on X and other sites, Instagram, people are arguing about this because while George Pickens didn't get 2 feet in, he got on one foot twice, and he basically hopped back. So he hopped a considerable distance with his foot. He got his foot again, like fully placed on the ground, and then he went out of bounds. Garrett Wilson he got his one foot in and kind of like stayed on it. His ankle was on his, but it was his shin. So I do think it was a catch by Garrett Wilson. And George Pickens, it's hard because NFL rules wise, he didn't get 2 feet in or step a part of the body. But I feel like people are saying he could be more disciplined and get his foot down, which he might have been able to, but I don't know with the momentum. But he got his foot down fully and got it again. So, like, say a person was they were like 5 yards away from, like, 5 or 3 yards away from the sideline, and they hopped on one foot out. To the NFL rules, that wouldn't count. And of course, that's an abstract situation, which, it's kind of stupid. But my point is, if someone hopped that far and only got one foot on, it wouldn't count by NFL rule standards. And I get, of course, they have rules. You follow them no matter what. The rest made the right call because that goes it's rule book. That's why it goes by. It goes by that. But people are just saying like maybe look into it because he got his foot down twice, and it wasn't like his toes were scraping. He got like his full foot down once and almost his full foot down again. He barely had his heels not touch the ground. So it's more of a maybe that should count as 2 feet because he got it down twice and it wasn't like a toe. It wasn't like one toe scraping twice or something like that. Personally, of course, right now I'm saying like I kind of understand why it wouldn't count. But if it was my team in the same situation, I'd be arguing for it because you are always argue for your team. So maybe I can see arguments for both. One, not doing it is, well, it's the rules, but two, eventually, like maybe looking at the rules and challenging it and making a different rule about it, I can also get that point because he was very far in the end zone when he got his first foot on, and still had room when his foot went down a second time. So I see both arguments. Personally, it's hard to say if I'd stick with the rule or not. I think you should look at it because a singular shin counting as 2 feet on the ground is a little iffy to me. Because I feel like it wasn't too much of his knee that was inbound, or too much of his shin that was inbound. It looked more like the ankle, but I understand why they count it because that is the rules. Like I'm saying, I'm still sticking by the rules because that's just how it is. You can't switch the rules in that moment. You can only get them switched like, by challenging them and stuff. But it's just hard to really think of it conclusively because there's just nuances to it, and he got his one foot in twice and not two, so you can't really argue right against it. I think maybe they should look into it, and like the shin, it was kind of mostly his ankle, and it was on one side of his foot. You know what I mean? And then the full knee, I feel like I understand that counting as kind of two, is because it's a large portion of your body. The shin is like the part of his foot in the like between the shin, the ankle, and the upper part that was really in was like not too much. It was like that much. So it wasn't like a lot of it. It wasn't a full knee. So I get why in the rule books it says it's 2 feet, but in my opinion, I think it should be not 2 feet. I think it should kind of count on the same part. But then you'd have to get into the arguments of, oh, it's like that full part just one side now, and that it could really hurt the game if we got too much into it. So it's a controversy. Everyone has their sides. I would just say I'm just gonna follow the rules just because they're there for a reason. It's just what's there, and you got to deal with it. Because if it happens against your team, you wouldn't want it to count. But if it happened with your team being the one, like if you're a Steelers fan, you want it to count. And then Garrett Wilson, that one is just everyone. That was just a great catch. There's not much more to say about it because it was ruled a complete catch. So after that, getting into players and moving, we have to go into a few trades. Most important one, in my opinion, is Deontay Johnson going to the Ravens. So Baltimore receives a 2025 6th-round draft pick in Deontay Johnson, and Carolina receives a 2025 5th-round pick. All I see really is the Panthers losing this trade. They already suck, and now they're just sucking worse because not only did you get not only did you not get a good pick for it, it's just a 5th round. You also gave up a 6th round for it. So it was just a really harsh deal for them. And honestly, it just helps the Ravens out so much because the Ravens lost to the Browns, as most of you know. And what happened that game, what plagued it was people weren't able to catch. Wide receivers couldn't catch the ball. Kyle Hamilton couldn't catch that game-winning interception. He dropped it, and then the next play, Winston threw a bomb for the game-winning touchdown. So they needed someone who can catch. Deontay Johnson, who has spent his career in Pittsburgh, and then this was his first year in the Panthers, but it was not working out, so he got traded. So it's good for the Ravens, terrible for the Panthers, in my opinion. Next, you have Vikings acquire much needed OT help with Cam Robinson being the offensive tackle. They get a so the trade is Minnesota receives Cam Robinson and a 2026 conditional seventh round draft pick, and Jacksonville receives a 2026 conditional fifth round pick. So that one, they move up 2 rounds compared to 1 round. And the Panthers, like I said, suck. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not too good too, but they're looking a little better, especially after that, of course, loss to the Packers, but they looked better at the end of it, which they have some injuries now, so that kind of is rough for them. So they move up two rounds in the draft, and it's conditional. So I think it's, of course, mostly a win for the Vikings because that's what they need help with. So it's going to be a win for them. Jacksonville, I think they're in the same kind of boat where it's not the best, but it's better than the Panthers in my opinion. And those are like the two big trades they like that really talked about. This, I think the other one, I don't know if I didn't talk about this yet. DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for a conditional fifth round draft pick. DeAndre Hopkins' value wasn't that high because he's older and he's still okay, but he hasn't shown too many flashes. So that one, it's like, it's not bad. I mean, the Titans lose a receiver, but the Titans already like have a downfall season anyway, so they're just looking for draft picks. And then Cam Akers to the Minnesota Vikings. They added some depth for that position. I think Cam Akers will fit well in there. Vikings receive Cam Akers and a 2026 conditional seventh round draft pick, and Houston receives a 2026 conditional sixth round draft pick. Doesn't really matter for the two because they're both really good teams, so the draft picks aren't really that important in that sense. So that's why I don't think it really matters too much about it. I think the Vikings received a good player to help their running back room, and it'll work for them. Running back room going into it, if you're going to talk about good running backs and good performances, DeAndre Swift against the Commanders, 18 carries, 129 yards, and 1 touchdown. Mostly the yards came from his 1 touchdown against us, where we sucked. Um, I'm not going to get into holding if it was on the play because might have got away with a little bit of holding in the last play, but we'll get into the last play. So yeah, 18 carries, 129 yards, 1 touchdown coming from a long 56-yard run by him to give them some points on the board because we shut them out. We had, I think it was 9 going into half, and they had 0, so our defense played very well. They got to Caleb Williams a lot, caused him to throw a lot of bad balls. So going into Caleb and Jaden Daniels, the number 1 and number 2 overall pick in this year's draft. One played better, one played worse. It's going to happen like that. And one played like he should be the higher pick, in my opinion. So Caleb Williams goes 10 for 24 with 131 yards, no touchdowns. And Caleb Williams, I thought, looked pretty bad, overthrowing guys, making bad decisions on run. Later in the night, he started to look okay. His major, I think, some of the best throw he had was the kind of floater to DJ Moore, where honestly, if Quan was where he was supposed to be, I think it would have been intercepted, but Caleb still got it there. And the one play where he took our entire line and linebacker group to the right and just did a little quick pass to um, Keenan Allen, which shouldn't have happened. So again, it's like a play we could have prevented, but he found the hole to get it there. So he played okay near the end, in my opinion. And then Jaden Daniels, 21 for 38, not the best like look to it, but 326 yards and 1 touchdown. Of course, touchdown again. We'll get into it later, but Jaden looked very well for the rib injury he had. Of course, they struggled a little bit in the end zone, but I think you can attribute that to one, the rib injury, and two, the offensive line caused a lot of penalties this game, from holding to an eligible player downfield, which was 2, because Jane Daniels, if you count the last play, should have had 2 other touchdowns. One to Zach Ertz, which should have been a touchdown. I do not care what anyone says. To me, that should have been a touchdown. Um, I think it was in his hands while he came down with it. Again, it's whatever the NFL rules. I can cry about it all I want, but at the end of the day, they counted it as not a touchdown, so it's not a touchdown. And then Zacchaeus, I believe it was, got a very good kind of short pass and brought it in. And an eligible player downfield, Sam Cosmi, took that away. So our offense kind of look at the score, you're like, oh, offense didn't do too great, which Noah Brown dropped a lot of balls, but you know what happened at the end. And it was just rough. For the Commanders rushing, of course, we talked about DeAndre Swift rushing. Now we go into our rushing yards. Brian Robinson Jr., great to have him back and healthy. He's still, I think it's still a nagging injury for him, but he's getting better. And 16 carries for 65 yards is not bad at all for him. Receiving yards, though, Terry McLaurin, five receptions, 125 yards. One player we have to get to talk about, Tyreek Stevenson. Boy, was he enemy number one in Chicago that night. Not only, so everybody knows the Hail Mary. Again, I'll talk about it in a minute. I keep accidentally winding back to it, but before that even happened, one, he made a bet with a Commanders fan for the Commanders fan's mortgage in the beginning of the game before everything started, which he lost, so pay up, buddy. But if you watched, and it was like near the middle of the game, Terry McLaurin gets a pass over the middle, and he's getting stopped. He's falling down, and Tyreek Stevenson just blazing a dirty hit on him. And Terry gets up, starts talking trash. Tyreek, he's talking trash back, and Terry goes to the sideline and he says something. I'm not gonna say on the podcast, but if you look up, you can probably find it on the internet. Just look up the GIF and Terry McLaurin on the sideline. It's you'll find it. So he's talking trash on Stevenson, saying like you're not anything. You're not something special against me. So Terry then tortures him, of course, because Terry McLaurin is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. But he just angered a beast in Terry McLaurin. Other receiving yards, Zach Ertz, 7 for 77. You have Noah Brown, 3 for 73 with a lot of drop passes, so he needs to pick that up. John Bates, 1 for 20, and Brian Robinson, 111. Luke McCaffrey, 1 for 8. I hope he gets his first touchdown soon. I love Luke McCaffrey. Austin Eckler, 2 for 6, and De'Ami Brown, 1 for 6. Then you go to the Bears receiver core. Rome Odunze, 3 for 41, had a very good, I think, third down pickup. You had Keenan Allen, 2 for 39. He had that one play against us. DJ Moore, 2 for 27. He had that floater catch, which he got hurt on that play, but he came back, so I'm happy he's not injured. Cole Kmet, 1 for 14. He was quiet today. DeAndre Carter, 1 for 7. And Gerald Everett, 1 catch, 3 yards. And, just to let you know, Tyreek Stevenson stats, 7 tackles, 2 assists. So, now we'll go into Stevenson's mishap at the end of the game. So, Bears bring the ball down, they score, they get the 2-point conversion, right? They go up 15 to 12. The Commanders we get up the field, Commanders, we had that one pass accuracy drops. Then we get another pass down there, and then we get one to Terry McLaurin on the sideline. So we're moving up the field, and we have time for one more play, a Hail Mary. So Tyreek Stevenson is down there, he's walking and he starts talking trash to the fan. He's talking trash. He's doing poses. He's blowing us off. While he's doing that, the play has already started. The play has already started. It's like I think 4 to 5 seconds before you even like realize the Bears. It's so embarrassing for him. The Bears fans are literally pointing at the play and telling him to pay attention. The fans are telling you to pay attention to your job during the game. And usually that's like some be like, oh, like the fans don't know what they're talking about. Like the fan, like they're like not in the right motive. but they're actually, for once, telling someone when they should do their job correctly. It's crazy. And he finally turns around and he goes over. Jane Daniels doing very good at evading the sacks. He's doing very good at getting around the pocket. Finally founds his base, and he has time to launch it, which he does with a rib injury, which is even more impressive how he passed it that far. He gets it down there. Stevenson, he runs up, he hits it up. His job is to hit it down in that formation. He hits it up to Noah Brown. So not only was he talking trash in one, he did a late hit to Terry McLaurin and talk trash to him to get burnt. Two, talk trash at the end of the game while a play was going on. And three, batted it up for Noah Brown to catch it for the touchdown. And he's the one who did it while he taunted the same play. So he wins us the game, basically. I love my Commanders. They did everything right to be in the position they did. So they did. I'd say he'd win us the game, but everything else had to go right for that to happen. So he's partially the reason we won because he tipped it. So yes, you can say he helped us win that game, which he did. So loses a bet, which I don't know if it would like cross the line with NFL betting policy. I don't know what's that there. I don't have to go into that. Loses a bet. Late did a dirty hit to Terry McLaurin. The trash talk Terry had on him, and he got burnt by Terry. And three, he talked trash, and then aided in us winning. So this dude, if he is not getting ripped in the locker room this whole week, I don't know if it's a real NFL locker room. The players must have hated him because what he did. Like, it's hilarious to me because all that just to get karma at the end when we win is great. You know, public enemy number one of Chicago probably right now because they were supposed to win that game because they played better one quarter. That's really it. They played better for one quarter than us. And at the end of the game, ones with more heart, the ones that were paying attention won. So sucks to be him. I don't know what else to say about that because he's the reason they lost. I mean, other things could happen. I mean, the line could have got to Jaden, but they didn't because Jaden's very good. And Jaden's the best rookie quarterback in the league right now. He should have won Rookie of the Month, but Bo Nix got it. Even though, I mean, it's whatever. I know he's better, and like, oh, you know, Bears fans saying awards don't count because Caleb will be, you know, better, whatever. Jaden Daniels has, I believe, 6 Pepsi Rookies of the Week now. I believe 5 or 6. 6. So Jane Daniels is a better QB rookie right now, and it's just you can't argue with that. I'm sorry, you can't, especially in the NFC. He's the best one in there, and you can make an argument that he's the best quarterback in the NFC East. I'm just saying it right now. I'm probably biased. I just think he's been playing the best. We're tied for the best record with the Eagles, I believe. So once we get to the Eagles, that'll be a big tester and Cowboys. But Dak is playing terrible. Like you got fans making diss track songs on him. I heard the Meet the Grams beat on a diss track with someone dissing the Cowboys. And it's that one guy. It's an amazing audio, but the own fans are turning on him. They said they're gonna jump off ship, and Dak said, "Okay, jump off it." So whatever. They're lost to the 49ers, who are bruised up. Kittle's always out. You have Debo getting hurt. You have Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL. Brock Purdy's been bumped up once or twice. Christian McCaffrey had bilateral Achilles tendonitis. They're not even at their full form, and you're losing to them. Ricky Pearsall just got recovered from his injury of getting shot twice, and he was torching them. So they're not doing well. Giants, it's the Giants. Honestly, if the Giants had a competent quarterback, they could be good. Their defense is not bad, but their offense is just sucks. They got Malik Neighbors, who's like a bright spot, really. Running back, Singletary's not bad. He ran a lot on us, but that's because our run defense is always bad. So anyone can really run well against us. So honestly, if they had a competent QB, just put at this point put Drew Lock in. I That's just my opinion on the matter. Because Drew Lock, I mean, I think he's a better player. I mean, mm, to me, he is because I think he's just had better moments recently. At this point, just give him a chance because Daniel Jones hasn't really been doing anything. He plays like Tom Brady against us. I don't get it how he always plays so good. Like I'm gonna get into the stats once we go to the Giants and Commanders game, which honestly, let's go to that now. So going into the game, like I said, Daniel Jones plays way better against us than he plays against anyone. We'll go into this now. According to StatMuse, Daniel Jones has a passer rating of 98.3 with 1,688 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in 8 games against the Commanders. He has 5 wins against us, 2 losses, and 1 tie, which was 2 years ago when he had Taylor Heineke still. So, of course, the last one we won because Malik Neighbors and him Malik Neighbors dropped like the easiest pass in his life probably. But if you look at like this right now, he doesn't look like a terrible quarterback if you look at his stats against the Commanders. Other teams, it's going to be terrible. But against the Commanders, it's not bad. 12 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 8 games, which like it's at least you could say a touchdown a game, which he has. Because if you look at it, in September 29th, 2019, he had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions against us. That was the first time. December 22nd, 2019, he had 5 touchdowns, 352 yards, uh, and like a rating of 132.1. What? Like he's always playing good against us. The one time he hasn't had a touchdown was December 18th, 2022, which he had 21 for 32. He had 65.6 percentage, completion percentage, and 106 yards. So that game was a lot like 2 years ago, the last time he played against us because he got hurt, of course. And then, of course, last year he destroyed us, which sucks. Well, not he didn't destroy us. Tommy DeVito did. Yeah, the backup. And then last game he was 16 for 28, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he always plays better against us for some reason. I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like that Daniel Jones, of all people, is the one doing good against us. I hate that. But going into the game, there's things we can do to stop it. First thing we can do to stop this is defensive line, get pressure on Daniel Jones and actually sack him. For some reason, we like to let him run in the pocket wherever, and we don't tackle him. We just let him just run. We don't go for a sack, anything. So Frankie Louver, I know we are a different team from the second game of the season. They're a different team from the second game of the season. Okay, they've had some close kind of games recently into like the last quarter or two. So like the Steelers, it was close for a while and then it got bad. But it's not that they show too much potential, but a little bitty, tiny bit of potential that always comes out against us. So first, get to Daniel Jones in cornerbacks. Please stay on the receivers. Emmanuel Forbes was in, I think, not barely any plays in last game, and then he sat like the whole game. So Emmanuel Forbes is not playing. He hasn't been playing well, and now he's not playing in actual games. Noah Igbenogany, St. Just, and Mikey Sandstrom. One of you just go on Neighbors, please, because Noah, he's been better than what I thought he was gonna be for us. Juice, I know he's bad, so he's never really playing good. And Lil Mike, as I like calling Mike Sandstrom, Lil Mike, he's been playing way better than I thought. He's gonna be a very good, slot corner for us, which he's kind of proven he can do more than just that, but he is very good there. And just someone get on Neighbors and slow him down. You don't even have to stop him. Just slow him down. And defense, slow down the running. We do those two things in our offense, which Brandon Coleman will be back for line, I believe. Louver's good, so he'll be fine on defense because was dealing with a small thing. But Brandon Coleman I believe, is out of concussion protocol, so he should be playing, which he's been playing better than I thought he was going to play for us. I thought I've said it before. I thought he was a project pick where he has very good potential, but he wasn't ready yet. Apparently, he's been ready because one of the first games against the game against the Bengals, he did very good, especially against athletes like Hendrickson on a D line. So he's been way better than I thought he could be, at least first year. So he'll be back. That's good news. Jaden Daniels, I think he's probably mostly healed. I don't know yet. I don't know the injury for him, but he'll probably play. So if that happens, offense, give Terry the ball. That's what's been winning us games. Give Terry the ball. You had that bomb last game again with Chicago, 61 yards, I want to say. You had that bomb, and Zach Ertz has been playing very well. Like, I know he has some stuff left in the tank, but he's been playing very well for us. And our backups at tight end aren't bad. You know, Benson, he got his first touchdown against the Panthers for us. And then Bates, every so often he has a good play there. He had a good play last week where he just trucked the defender. So, but give the ball to Terry. Let Brian Robinson run on them. I do know they have a good line, mm, but still run him a bit because that's part of our offense. So run him, but I'll say it time and time again, and Washington fans will agree with me. Give Scary Terry the ball, please. He has been doing great. He's top 5 in passing yards. I mean, in yards, yeah, receiving yards. Sorry, and he's been doing great with a like quarterback that's actually like good. He can do so well. And in the past, we've had some okay quarterbacks. I mean, Taylor Heineke did okay. I'm not gonna say he was like good. I love Taylor Heineke. You really can't do much to make me hate him, but he wasn't that good. Sam Howell, oh man, I was blinded by hope last year. I thought he was gonna be like our savior, so that wasn't good. And just some quarterbacks sprinkled in there. We had Fitzpatrick, Keenum, Gilberts. I said Sam and Heineke. Alex Smith was in there. Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. So you've had a lot of different quarterbacks for Terry. I think the one really good one was Alex Smith. He was playing good, and then I think he played with Kirk Cousins once or twice. I don't fully remember on that. I'd have to check that. But he's played with a lot of different quarterbacks. Jane Daniels is proving to be the best quarterback he's played with. So it's great to see him with a good quarterback, and he's been having a great time. You can finally see him smiling, like he's finally happy to be playing with us. I think it's because we're winning, and of course, winning is going to make anyone smile, but specifically, like he looks happy to be on this team for once. So everything is doing great. Commanders are 6-2. We're in the top of our division for the first time in I'd say for like a forever with a winning record because the last time we were top of the division, we won it with a losing record, but almost beat Tom Brady and the Bucks. Never forget that. That was Taylor Heineke's like welcome game for us. He did the dive for the pylon. Missed that game. If only you could win, and Chase Young continued to be good after that, but he didn't. But other than that, we just need to corners stay on them, cause a bit of pressure, and then offense protect Jaden still and get the ball to Terry. And we should win because, again, like I said, the Giants always play good against us, especially Daniel Jones, but I think we'll be all right. Thank you guys for watching. I believe Crown Jewel is this weekend, so I will try to do a prediction video for that. I know that doesn't have to do with this sport, but for my wrestling folks out here, if you're watching this one. So look out for that. I think it's tomorrow. But yeah, again, thank you for watching. Have a great weekend and bye. Subscribe.